What's up guys, and welcome to Deep Dive Through Music. On this channel we'll be taking closer looks into the history behind some of the events leading up to our favourite music moments throughout our time. Our focus today will be on the Philly native, the infamous Schoolie D, credited with making the first ever gangsta rap record called PSK. With that record, Schoolie D influenced various generations to put their normal street life and stripes they earn in the streets onto beats and make the gangsta rap subgenre what it is today, arguably the most popular music in the world right now. The record PSK was a hit in Philadelphia and generated a buzz throughout the East Coast, as no one had ever heard anyone rapping about crimes and street life in such an open way. The hype over the lyrics and beat of the song got so big it reached the West Coast and influenced a particular local rapper, Ice-T. Ice-T states that was the first gangster track he had ever heard and was amazed with how brazen Schoolie D was in making a song for his local Philly gang, Parkside Killers. Ice-T admits that once he heard the track, he copied the flow and created the iconic and famous 6 in the Morning, which launched Ice-T's career to unrivaled heights. Hip-hop in Philadelphia began in 1979, with Lady B becoming the first Philadelphia rapper to release a song. However, the rap scene in Philly didn't take off as it did in New York, and this led to barely anybody making noise out of Philly for the next few years. At this point in early 80s Philadelphia, Schoolie D says that he and people around him were tired of listening to the weak records that Curtis Blow and others were releasing. I was a DJ before I started making records, and there was a lot of weak records coming out like Curtis Blow and Grandmaster Flash starting to get soft. That wasn't what rap was about, because I was on the streets, I was doing the basement parties, I was doing the block parties, and people ain't want to hear that. So I was like, I'll make a record about the streets, and that's where PSK came into effect, because this is what people really do. Schoolie D tells us that before making the hit song, Philadelphia was pure magic and a perfect storm that created the environment for them to record the song. When PSK and other songs were released by Schoolie D, the lyrics and beats were so gritty and raw, fans and magazine editors were so taken aback because they weren't used to the lyrics being so real and had a hard time accepting the street life that was happening in every hood in America during the late 70s and early 80s. Schoolie states, I was looking at interviews that James Brown and Elvis did, and they were talking about it's not what's in the record, it's about what's not in the record. The famous ID magazine was quoted saying, the experience of listening to Schoolie's music has been likened to being mugged. NME magazine said, at the hardcore of rap's new underground is Philadelphia's gun-happy rapper, Schoolie D. In 1986, the year Schoolie D released PSK, Boogie Down Productions made 9mm Goes Bang, in which KRS-One boasts about shooting a crack dealer and his posse to death in self-defense. Boogie Down Productions then made their album, Criminal Minded, in 1987, and was the first rap album to have firearms on its cover. Shortly after the release of this album, their DJ Scott LaRock was shot and killed. The impact of PSK was tremendous and created a tidal wave-like effect. The song reached the West Coast and essentially created West Coast gangster rap. When Ice-T made 6 in the Morning, that song inspired Eazy-E's Boys in the Hood song, which used a similar flow to PSK. Then after the release of Boys in the Hood, it kickstarted arguably the biggest group in hip-hop ever, NWA, who themselves rapped about everyday street life and glorifying the gangster lifestyle. The first blockbuster gangster rap album was NWA's Straight Outta Compton, released in 1988. Straight Outta Compton established West Coast hip-hop as a vital genre and established LA as a legitimate rival to hip-hop's longtime capital, New York City. Straight Outta Compton sparked the first major controversy regarding hip-hop lyrics when their song F the Police earned a letter from the FBI strongly expressing their resentment of the song. Due to the influence of Ice-T and NWA, gangster rap is somewhat erroneously credited as being a mostly West Coast phenomenon, despite the contributions of East Coast acts like Boogie Down Productions in shaping the genre, and despite Philly rapper Schoolie D being generally regarded as a first gangster rapper. The influence of gangster rap carries on to the mid-90s, where hip-hop had the famous East Coast v West Coast rivalry. The two biggest acts on each coast, Tupac and Biggie Smalls, were unfortunately killed during this rivalry, and many credit that to there being a blurred line between the lyrics and the actual street life that was happening. Many felt that the gangster elements and brazen lifestyle resulted in the untimely deaths of the two popular rappers. Schoolie D's PSK even influences the current generation of music. The 2010s saw a new form of gangster rap known as drill emerge from Chicago, gaining popularity with rappers such as Chief Keef and Lil Durk. Drill lyrics typically reflect life on the streets and tend to be gritty, violent and very realistic. Drill rappers use a grim, deadpan delivery. The toughened reality of living in these neighborhoods is what shaped drill music. In the drill scene, rap conflict and gang conflict often overlap, and many of the rappers come from the exact same background that Schoolie D was living in the same year he made PSK. Schoolie D made PSK in 1986, but the influence of that song lasted many decades later, with drill and trap music being widely regarded as some of the most popular genres in the world. Schoolie D was just rapping about what was happening in his everyday life, whether it was good or not, and that paved the way for many generations to earn millions off of rapping about their reality. This is how the first gangster rap record influenced a nation.